Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Welcome to the stream finale of City of Mist. I want to do a little check to see that everyone can hear me. Maybe some people in the chat can give us some feedback about the sound. Hello. Nice. Okay, so everybody can hear me. That's awesome. And I see some familiar faces from the backer list here with us on chat. That's cool. So I just wanted to begin by saying thank you, a big thank you for everyone that was involved in the Knights of Payne Kickstarter. It was amazing. It was just blew my mind, especially after the reboot and the very slow beginning of the previous Kickstarter. This just leap out of nothing to basically being back in the game. That was very touching, and I want to thank all the backers who were involved in that. Also, in the last hours, I'm kind of switching to our page and looking at the progression of the Kickstarter. We have been, in the last couple of days, unlocking more and more stretch goals, and basically creating more content for City of Mist. And for that, also a big thank you to everyone. So if there is, okay, we're hearing that there's a little bit of buzzing. We can try something else maybe later if it becomes problematic, but you guys, the chat, let me know. So if anyone has any questions, I'm going to generally talk about where we go from here and talk a little bit about the products in the Kickstarter. And if anyone has any questions, fire away, ask them in the chat, and I'm going to happily answer them, of course. So I guess the first thing I want to talk about is this thing. We have the core book, which is almost out of print by now, almost sold out. And this giant monster, which some of you may already have in their hands, is 500 pages long. This one's a little bit, I guess, it got a little bit deformed due to some heat that it took. But this book has also recently won an Annie Award, a Gold Annie Award for Marcin and Mariusz's art, along with other supporters. And yeah, some of the people in the chat here are saying it's unwieldy in a good way. And some, Ignacio says, customs finally released my big purple monster. Yeah. So definitely, this book, I guess after the first Kickstarter, we're just firing away and writing all the content that we can think about to fit in this monster. And that's how it got this big. The funny thing about City of Mist is actually, if you've played it, it's rather, as far as systems go, it's a rather rules light system. But this book has a lot of content. It has guides for the MC, different guides on how to write custom moves, on how to write cases, on how to write story arcs. It has a lot. And the chapters for the player are also, pretty full of examples. There's a lot of art in this book, and the design, the font size, if you look at it, and this beautiful, readable rim, or I guess the margin, is way too big for a role-playing game book. So we're actually not going to change any of this. We want it to keep it beautiful, but what we will do as a first thing after this Kickstarter is we're going to split this beautiful book into two separate books, the player guide and the MC toolkit, separating the player and the MC chapters. There still will be some MC tips in the player guide about things relating directly to player moves. But all of the guides and the toolkits and the dangers, which are the adversaries of City of Mist, are going to be in a separate book, which is the MC guide. Now, if you guys anyone who has this, I want to hear in the chat, what is your favorite piece of art in the book? And we're going to show it here in a few minutes. Now, let's take a look at those questions. Forgive me if this has been asked, but are there any future plans for new cases or supplements going into the future? This is Alan Valentinus Nala. So, first of all, this campaign, Knights of Payne Town, is a campaign for a book of cases. The story arc book is actually made out of 10 cases that you can play separately as standalone cases or as a part of a scheme made by an avatar, the villains of City of Mist in a way, or the morally problematic superpowered beings of City of Mist, and which is another way of saying villains. And so yeah, the next thing I should say is that other than splitting the book, we will be creating Knights of Payne Town, as most of you know, which is the story arc, the cases book, and we also will be creating the Shadows and Showdowns expansion, previously known as the campaign book. So far, there have only been 2 cases available for City of Mist. V's for Going Viral, which is the starter case, and Demons in Cross End, which we created in the previous Kickstarter. We did release for the backers, the previous Kickstarter backers, we did release a Kickstarter exclusive case called Amnesia Town. And we wrote a couple of other cases for running in, I wrote a couple of other cases with the help of other contributors for running in conventions, but we haven't released anything. There's going to be a slew of new cases coming at you now. If you're backers of the Kickstarter, you will be getting the Knights of Payne Town cases as we write them, even if they're not completely finished, completely, I should say, polished. You will be getting playtesting versions of those cases as we go along towards March 2019, which is the release date. And we also we'll have, I guess, 2 more cases that we're going to be writing. One for the extra case for the MC Toolkit. It's going to be a part of the MC Toolkit, and that's Gambling with Death. And we're also going to create another introductory case for the new starter set, which, as you can all see, is hanging there in the distance in the $200,000 goal. And who knows, maybe we'll still reach that tonight. There will also be some case material in some of the bonus PDFs. For example, I know that the Heist PDF Fortune Row is definitely going to have some case material. So that's with everything to do with cases. Okay, Dark Summer Wind is saying, and I saw that you guys were at the Gen Con. Congrats on the Annie. Thank you. We're so thrilled about it. And Ignacio says, yeah, something I like about the book is how it accompanies you through the rules, like it explains a rule and follows it with a practical example. Good, yeah, that was definitely our intention when we wrote it, and I'm very happy that it's working and that people can kind of get the system, but also still feel like they're reading something interesting as they're going through it. Okay. Wendy says she loves the tome, but she's still excited for the split books. Yeah, a lot of people love the tome. More people said that it was intimidating. And as we were trying to reach to new players, we thought of splitting the player guide out of the MC stuff. Okay, so Dark Summer Wind says that the comic where all the rifts are gathered in Lestrange, however way to pronounce it, in his office. I don't think you can see it very well. You can probably see it better on our website. But that's basically the detective noir classic shot with all the big names gathered in one room as Detective Enkidu, who's going to be on the new starter set, presents herself to the crew, a new recruit, I guess. Thomas, who is a longtime backer and responder, is saying that his favorite art is on page 203. We're going to do one more, and then we're going to move forward. 203. Ooh, yeah, this one's actually made by Mariusz. This is the famous murder scene, or actually rather disposing of body scene with Karen in the back. So there's a lot of little details worked into these, the artwork in City of Mist, if you've noticed. Okay, another question for Dark Summerwind. Any possibility we might get some more pre-made characters based on popular media, like the Daredevil one you did for the original? Right, so these things are definitely, they can only be kind of fan-made, and we wouldn't want to, you know, aggravate too much any kind of IP of other or you know, intrude or into any kind of IP of other companies. So this was something we did just to show the potential, and kind of out of love for the Defenders group. We tried to do kind of a group creation of Jessica Jones when that season was running, but we don't want to push it too far. I mean, I think I'm actually looking forward for players and fans of the game to create their own versions of popular characters and share it with us, because then we can share it with everyone. Ignacio shared his favorite art. I'm going to go back to that in a while. Elias is asking, how broad is the pool of legends that a character can be based on? On the Kickstarter page, we can see a lot of fairy tale folklore characters, but does it include mythology and more classical literature? Definitely, Elias. If you read the book, you will see that I was meticulous in trying to balance mythology, legend, folklore, even more modern stories. I guess Peter Pan. I guess the main sample character is based on help me out, guys. The guy with the windmills. I'm blacking out. So this is reporter Lance Sullivan, and I'm totally blacking out on the name of the legend. Don Quixote. Thank you, Elias. So that is. So we have a lot of these. So and if you in character creation, you see a list of ideas. You know, characters can even be based on concepts alone. I personally like the ones that are based on more defined legends and stories, but they can definitely be based on any kind of concept or idea or modern creation. I think Ido Tang, who's somewhere here on the, I saw him a minute ago, in one of our games, he created a legend based on Michael Jordan, the basketball legend. So it's definitely possible, and the system supports it. Let's see any other questions. Dark Summerwind is asking, will Chinatown be possibly released in a future date? I really hope that we will get to create Chinatown, because it's actually one of the bonus PDFs and districts that I've been thinking about the most by myself, and Guy Lark Jr., who's one of our backers and this martial arts expert and you know, East Asia cultures expert, has been wanting to write this for a very long time. And I've been kind of recently thinking about the martial arts rule and how we can take, for example, the move go toe to toe and kind of tweak it a little bit to make it more martial artsy. Right, the chat disappeared and then came back. So sorry. So this I really want to create Chinatown. I think we're going to be very busy creating all the other stuff. Maybe after March, if we find the time for it, we will be able to create Chinatown, but it's too early to say. So that's why I'm really, really hopeful that we will reach this goal. Okay, so we had some favorite pieces of art. Someone said page 72. I said page 72. Page 72. Oh, that's a part of the comics, I guess. So that's when Detective Enkidu, we go into her past as a feral child, and we discover that she can whip out some pretty nasty looking barbed, thorny tentacles of sorts. Okay, let's see what else. And Thomas asks, I reckon there are sometimes different tellings of one and the same legend. What are your thoughts about more than one rift for the same mythos? Well, this is definitely one of those things, like the questions of more than one rift, more than one person embodying the same mythos, or one person embodying several mythos. These are definitely things that I like to leave for the MCs to deal with. I don't think that in the canon of City of Mist, City of Mist doesn't really have a canon. It has, materials that we can work with, but there is a little bit of story that's building there, and I don't think that we will kind of have different tellings of the same myth. I actually like finding stories that are different stories, maybe stories from different cultures that kind of connect with each other, things like that. So, but I'm going to leave, this is the kind of stuff that I'm going to leave for MCs to decide, and groups, and their groups to decide whether this works for the story, whether this is more entertaining. Personally, I think there are enough legends so that, character can be unique and have their own legend. But I know that a lot of people like to dabble with the mystical aspects of this, and I should say, metaphysical aspect of this really cool concept of the mist and the mythoi, and I dig that, and I think that's very cool. So this is going to stay in the hands of the MCs. Yeah. Okay, so we have Alan Valentino saying that he made characters based on the American Dream, Malcolm X, and many other non-traditional myths. I love that. I think that we're going to have all kinds of different folk heroes and characters like that coming up. One thing that specifically comes to mind when you said when you name these legends is Chris Beeves, who is the author of Harlem Unbound. He's going to create our independence or African American based district, and that's going to have some very interesting legends that I think people have been waiting to see, like John Henry, and so that's going to be very, very interesting. And I definitely encourage that. I think that that's the beauty of the game. You can use any kind of story and any kind of folk story hero. Okay, LS is asking, any chance of having the district PDFs combined in one printed volume in the future? That's a good question. That's actually something I've been thinking about. We're going to have more locations in districts, or some form of locations in the expansion in Shadows and Showdowns. And how do we work that? Do we, obviously the bonus PDFs are not going to be in Shadows and Showdowns. Otherwise, that's not very much a very nice bonus to get. But we'll see. We'll see how we work that into maybe a future book. First we probably want to get Knights of Payne and Shadows and Showdowns out, see how they do, see how people respond to this material, and we'll probably also consider making other books if that's where the wind blows at that point. But right now we're focused on these two expansions and of course the split book. What are some other settings, world concepts you see the game mechanics working well for? Ido is asking. That's a really good question. Actually, this is a great time to share with you that we are getting closer and closer to unlocking the the PDF that I want to write, the bonus PDF that is actually a social stretch goal or a social achievement, and that's how to hack City of Mist for different genres. We actually need only 2 more achievements for that, and these achievements are the closest achievements that we can get are the Facebook and the Facebook shares and the Reddit upvotes. So what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to share the links with you. And if you haven't shared, or if you can think of a group where you can share it, please do. This is the Facebook item to share, and I'm going to also include the Reddit for the Redditors here, the Reddit upvoting link. And if we can get, I think, just about 25 of each or something like that, I still have to check it. But if we can get 25 more of each, we will unlock this PDF that talks about how to hack City of Mist into different genres. So answering Idil's question, I think this can go in many ways. I mean, people have talked about using it as a kind of magic versus normality. I mean, I think the main thing about City of Mist that it will be hard to transfer is the themes and the balance between 2 themes. Okay, so I think everything else is so flexible, and you can really take it to almost any genre. I think that you can take it easily. The tag system and the moves you can easily take into science fiction, cyberpunk, whatever you want, more like werewolves and vampires style, urban fantasy, of course. So I think this is the easy part to convert. The harder part is the tension between those 2 logos and mythos aspects, which is actually a big part of the system. And in Shadows and Showdowns, we will also share the rules for becoming a gatekeeper. I don't know if maybe the previous backers know about this, but I don't know if everyone on this campaign knows about it. And the rules for becoming a gatekeeper expand on this balance between mythos and logos. They almost like add a 3rd leg to it of like the mythos, normality, and the mist, even though logos and the mist are connected. So that's going to give people some ideas on how to further hack the system. But of course, if we can make it to that stretch goal, that would be fantastic. Let's see what other questions we have. Okay, so Dark Summer Wind is thinking of making a conspiracy involving the Knights of the Round Table. Unlogical is asking, what's the starter set at the 200,000K stretch goal? Fantastic question. Why don't I just show you instead of tell you? Just 1 minute. How can we share this with everyone? Okay. I'm going to share with you an image of the that we created for the next starter set, and I hope you like it. Whether we get there or not remains to be seen, but this is a concept that we were very excited about. And here we go. I'm putting it new starter set. So the starter set that we unlocked at 100,000 is basically the PDF starter set. We won't be able to print it at this stage. We will just create the characters. But the starter set that you see here, it's just a mock-up, right? These are not the final colors. Obviously, these are not the final characters, But basically what you will be getting in a starter set, if we create the starter box, my vision for it is to have the 5 characters in the starter set, the case all printed out in a nice book with the basic rules, and also to include dice and the cards, the tracking cards in it, so that there's basically a ready-to-go package that's playable at the table, and it's not PDF. You don't have to start printing things and so on and so forth. One of the other things I want to do is I want to somehow either replace the how to play section with a more basically condensed version of how to play, and then pre-made moves for each character. Okay, so if someone comes to the table and they don't know how to play, they're still getting through all, like, connecting all the tags, there will be combos of tags and moves ready for them. So Detective Inkito's investigation move will probably include some of her tags, but it will also have some kind of flavor text, like check the scene out, or look for details, something more detective-y. Whereas if Job, who is this little dwarven Irish priest that can take any amount of beating, but he's also a social powerhouse, if Job is going to be doing this kind of investigation, his investigation would be more, read someone's, read their feelings or understand, because he's also a priest, so he can read people's feelings. And that would have different tags, and it's the same investigate move. So this little combo, pre-made combo, is going to help people who are new to the game to just like start playing right off the bat and worry about like making their own combinations of tags later on. So if City of Mist could be any easier to beginners, it's going to be even more easy. Okay, so let's see who else is on board. And what are the questions that we have here? We have Trina Boy, which is one of our team members, spamming here with shout out to Suja Sinj, the mythos of the Hindu goddess Kali. That was his character. How's it going, Omer? And what else do we have? He's also asking, are there any thoughts of making City of Mist mechanics work in a fantasy setting? Are there any thoughts of making a fantasy City of Mist, with a big smile, because he knows there's definitely plans for something like that. So I'm not going to say a lot more about that because this is still in the works, but yes, there is a City of Mist fantasy game in the works. It's obviously going to be after we complete all our commitments for City of Mist past and present. And but it's definitely in the works, and like I said, I really see a lot of potential in basically freeing players and MCs from the constraints of very, very finite and closed mechanics, and like opening it up for using it with City of Mist style tag system and moves. But there will also be a room for the balance between two elements, which I will not say in this fantasy setting. And I have a lot of cool ideas for that, a lot of cool ideas. This is going to be a step up, definitely, from a mechanics point of view and from the systems development. And there's also a kind of a cute fantasy world attached to it. But it remains to be seen if we'll be able to produce that. Probably this will be connected with our next future Kickstarter, yet to be determined. Okay, we have more questions. Okay, Dark Summer Wind saying, I know that this is a game focused on a city, but are there any thoughts of adding more locations just outside the city? Also different time period settings? Yes, Dark Summer Wind, this was definitely a consideration for City of Mist, creating, first of all, settings for different times or actually specific cities, like doing City of Mist London, City of Mist wherever, Mumbai, all these places. Every city, Hong Kong, there is a specific City of Mist Tokyo that I wanted to create this Kickstarter. We didn't get that far, but I might be doing it later on down the line. with a specific story. There's also thought of doing time periods, like expansions that are speaking specifically about the roaring 30s and the 20s and that kind of stuff, or something in the 50s, more kind of Cold War style stuff. But actually, the people we reached out to wanted to create more locations for the city. So Chris Spivey and Mark Mark Truman from Magpie Games, Chris Spivey who created Harlem Unbound, Chris Gunning from Delta Green, Metamancer, all these people, and of course James Introcaso who co-designed Dungeons and Dragons Dragon Heist. All these people actually wanted to expand the city and create more districts for it. I would like to add some more just out of town locations. I think they're great for a little side quest kind of stuff, and then when you want to start exploring the edges of the mist. I just didn't really feel that was kind of like the most immediate thing that we want to create. Definitely the next big thing we want to create is the expansion and the cases. Very much needed right now for the game. Let's see other questions. Phantom is asking, is the MC screen included in the MC toolkit that's part of the I Want Everything tier? Sorry, no. So Phantom, this is as I explained when we started the Kickstarter. I Want Everything included all the rewards that we had, which were the 4 books and the accessory set. We also added to it the crime board map. So if you got I Want Everything, you get the crime board map attached to Knights of Payne Town or inside Knights of Payne Town automatically. All the other add-ons, unfortunately, have their own cost, and we can't just roll them into that bundle, unfortunately. I would be very happy to do it, but it's not really feasible. So specifically, the MC screen is a separate add-on that you should pick up on its own if you want it. And it will also be available later, of course, through our store and options like that. Okay, Alan Valentinus is asking, can you talk more about the D12s instead of the D6s? So this is really important to clarify. The City of Mist custom dice are not D12s. They are shaped like D12s, but the numbers on them go from 1 to 6. They just go from 1 to 6 twice. So you actually, it is the same as rolling a D6. I wanted to do this because I saw Matt Fleming's campaign for double sixes. I thought it was a really cool idea. Here, I even have the dice here that I used to choose the colors. I got those in Gen Con as I was kind of hunting for colors. I really like the swirl on this one. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. And I actually also picked up a couple to create maybe a Knights of Payne Town neon themed dice, but we might wait for that a little bit later. So I don't know. These are obviously not the final colors, but some inspiration. So these dice are definitely simple. They're simply D6s in a different shape. They roll better. So some say that this improves their, kind of like statistical goodness. I'm not even gonna try and go into what that means, but I just think it's cool. I just thought it was a nice way of doing a different D6 rather than another D6 that we all know and love. But these dice are completely and utterly like D6s. It doesn't change anything in the system. I hope that answers the question. Ido says there were some votes to make the empty screen landscape to better see the players at the table. Thinner mist, if you will. Did you make a final decision here? Definitely did not make a final decision, as we're still in the midst of the Kickstarter, but I'm 99% sure that we're going to go for the landscape 3-piece, I think, MC screen. I think that's the most convenient thing. You see the players, you have everything low in your field of vision, and I'm unless we hit like major obstacles in creating that, which I can't even think of what that would be, this is the way we're going to go. Okay, so we have some feedback. This looks gorgeous. Hope you make it to 200,000. I hope you like it. If you have any more feedback or questions about the starter set shot that I sent earlier, you are welcome to ask them. Rumi says, City of Mist, I think you really need to put a complex combat example. Despite running it for a few months, I still have problems with adjudicating, I don't even know how to say that, pace or move ratio between, oh, I get it, pace or move ratio between PCs and NPCs. Okay, Rumi, this is actually a very important point. First, we do have what we call a playthrough, and I think we've already shared it before. I'm happy to share it again. We have a playthrough for the game, and I'm going to share it with you right now, so you don't have to look any further. And this playthrough kind of goes through all of the steps of combat. The most important thing I think you need to understand when you run City of Mist is that technically the dangers don't have any turns. Dangers don't have any turns. You as the MC have a turn, so to speak. And you can act in three ways. You can make a hard move, and then you can use the danger to attack the players. And this hard move can only come out of when a player rolls 6 or less. So you actually have to wait for a player to roll 6 or less in order to attack with a danger. The other option is to make soft moves. Soft moves you can make between any two players. So whenever you're shifting the spotlight to another player, you can take it to yourself, make a soft move, and then move on to the other player. The nice thing about soft moves is you use enough of them to warn your players, you can actually turn them into a hard move. And how many of them you do before you do that, that's really up to you. And the last thing are intrusions. Some moves allow you to attack the characters or make a move with a danger. Some custom moves allow you to do that even while a character is taking their turn. Or you can also use when someone doesn't choose to protect themselves in a move they make, you can also use that to attack them. So there's actually no turns for the dangers. It doesn't work that way. The dangers are there to provide you with interesting things to inflict upon your characters and your players. Ahedi is asking, can the afterplays, the pledge manager, include hardcover copy, extra copy for a friend, for example? Yes, definitely. We will add that. I did want to change the add-on for, you can already add that now if you think that you're going to get it. The price for it was going to be similar for the Shadows and Showdowns add-on. So you can grab an extra copy by adding $35 to your pledge. I wanted to add this during the campaign, but I felt that things were getting quite complicated, and I didn't want to repeat the confusion that was in the pre-reboot campaign. So this will be available. You will be able to grab extra copies for your friends. Other questions. Let's see. Could you talk about where you see Son of Oak in the future? What kind of games are planned for the future? Again, from our friend Omar. So very briefly, there is the fantasy game that I mentioned, and there is another game kind of in very early stages of development that is also a modern game, but starts out as a modern game, but it actually runs across different points in time and history. And this is actually a game that's kind of closely connected to City of Mist. It also has elements similar to the Mist, but to put it in short without revealing too much, there's a couple of games planned. Right now, we're focused on City of Mist. and expanding that universe. And if we see that you guys like it, we'll propose a couple of other things, and we'll see how you take to that as well. Rumir is also asking, oh, I lost you. Okay. Any chance of introducing a faction composed of mythologically linked NPCs, an exotic pantheon, or a cast of a really famous legend? It's already happening, actually, for the heist PDF or the Fortune Row. We're going to have a enemy heist team based on the 7 deadly sins. So I think you're going to enjoy that. It might crop up in other add-ons and stuff like that. A lot of it is also based on the mix between different pantheons, but there's definitely some of these groups. I know at least one case has a bunch of various Japanese spirits as a kind of a Yakuza team. So that's also coming. Okay, let's see what else have we got here. It's mentioned that in Shadows and Ignacio is asking, it's mentioned that in Shadows and Showdowns there will be improvements of themes. Can you share a little on how they will work? Are they like D&D prestige classes, or they replace the core theme? So Ignacio, these things are already present in the core book. Every theme book has 5 improvements that you can pick up for a character. You can also get those on the cards when you get the theme cards. You also have the improvements on the back, so you can just mark those and you know, keep track of them. Same goes for the logos cards. So for example, if you have the personality type at the top, the back would have the personality theme improvements. What I'm going to do in the expansion is add more improvements to those, and I'm actually thinking of creating additional improvements that are not necessarily theme related. So these could be general improvements that you could take. These could be based on your role in the crew. This could be based on your different factors. I don't want to say something that may not end up being there, but this is the idea, to just kind of like use a little bit more mechanics to make things interesting for the crew, the groups that want to use that. Okay. And Amit, Thomas is asking if there's any chance that the core books will have ribbons to use as bookmarks. There could be. We could look into that. I'm not. I can't give you a final answer. I know of a few books that are like that, but the aspiration is to make these books lighter and maybe not so thick that you would literally need a bookmark. But I can see how that would be useful, and I can look into that. Not sure we're going to do it. I'm not sure how much cost is as yet, but I will definitely check that out and see if this is something we want to add. Alan Valentinos also says that he wants a bookmark integrated into his book. Okay, we'll take that into notice. Okay, Rumir, thanks for pointing the playthrough out, so you guys can go and check out the playthrough. Let's see what else. Nathaniel is asking, when will you be sharing the cheat sheet PDF? Nathaniel, this is directly related to the MC toolkit. So once we're done creating some of the summary pages, the player guide. So once we're done creating some of the summary pages that we're going to add to the player guide, we're going to even condense them further into cheat sheets. We might also do that for the summary pages of the MC toolkit. And so this is, I'm guessing this will be released sometime around October or November. Okay, Alan Valentinos, you like the 7 Deadly Sin heist team? Yeah, that's attributed, should be credited to Metamancer, Jules, who is the MC of the Larkspur sequence, the Encounter Roleplay City of Mist show. So you can go check it out. She's an amazing MC, and I'm sure you'll enjoy watching it. Jose is asking, how much time since the Kickstarter finished and receiving the current core book PDF? Not the new ones. I know those are in November. Jose, basically, we will need to wait until, at least until, I'm thinking, this is off the top of my head. I didn't process that all the way yet, so don't hold me to it. But I think we will need to figure out pledges before that. So I think it can only be when we start seeing people answering their pledge manager surveys, and then we know who's supposed to get it, and then we can send that. Before that, unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to send it. But if you have any special requests, just reach out to us, and we'll try to get it to you as soon as possible. Okay, outstanding art nomination by Rumir. Let's see what you got here. 197. Everyone's staying around those pages. I actually think that most of the beautiful character art is in chapter 6. I don't know if many of you have ventured that far deep into the book, but it's one of the most fun chapters, definitely for me to write, and I think also for MCs who are looking for examples. Of course, 197 is the City of Mist legendary art, Salamander versus one of those Yakuza-style Japanese spirits, Oni, and this has been pretty much our banner since Marching created it, I guess late last year or early this year. I love this. This is definitely one of my favorite pieces of art, if that wasn't clear from the fact that it's all over City of Mist. Okay. Ken is saying that he previously ordered a campaign book via the website. Can you clarify for me that I prepare my final order on Pledge Manager and get in touch before completing? Thanks. Well, Ken, you're just going to get a copy of Shadows and Showdowns in March 2019, and you're going to enjoy all the bonuses of this Kickstarter, even if you don't support it at all because you already pre-ordered it. But if you have any further questions, just send me a message or an email, and I will be happy to answer them. Ignacio saying, thanks for the answer. I can't wait for SNS, which is Shadows and Showdowns. Thomas, Amit, if I want to create a PC with a familiar, would you suggest using the Relic theme like Lily and Iron Hands, or any other way? Well, actually, Thomas, if you want to create a PC with a familiar, I suggest you wait for Shadows and Showdowns, because that's going to have a list of familiars that you can pick up, ready-made familiar themes that you can pick up. But if you want to do that, I think the current rules definitely support it. You should actually go for an extra theme ally that is at the end of chapter 4, just before chapter 5. That's usually the end of chapter 4. But the extra theme book ally is actually designed to support both, sidekicks and familiars. So I think that would be very good. If your familiar is a riding beast, I think that you should try the ride theme book, extra theme book. That's more inclined to support riding beasts. Okay, we have a question from Tina Boy. I love the art for Ganesha in the latest update. Could you give clues about other avatars featured in SNS? Shadows and Showdowns. We have not nailed the entire list of avatars that's going to be in the Council of Avatars known as the Truth. There's a couple of avatars that I'm dying to make that have been proposed by previous backers, and maybe there will be some avatars proposed by the Mythos Creator tier. There were 5 of them that were chosen by by backers. So we're going to have some material coming from backers, which is amazing. In chapter 6 of the core book, we have 3 out of 4 of the avatars have been created by backers, and they were together, of course, with me, but with my guidance. But the ideas came from them, and I think these are really, really, really special and unique ideas that I love bringing in. So there are 2 more. One of them is Inuit, and the other is a Celtic love kind of goddess mythos, or the lover's mythos. And these 2 might end up being in the truth. They might also end up being in the chapter about maybe avatars that want to bring down the mist. But yeah, these are some of the avatars we're thinking of. Ganesha is very special because she's hinted at in all kinds of places in the core book. I think there's one section where someone is talking about seeing a child with an elephant head. Obviously, this is Ganesha. And there is also one of the NPCs in the blue collar residential district is related to the Ganesha mythos. The mythos doesn't relate to it, but this rift is actually working for that avatar, and is going to appear on the avatar description. One more question from Nathaniel. Is there a way for us backers to get more theme cards after the Kickstarter campaign is over? Yes, definitely. You can pick the theme cards have been on our store until now. They are sold at a discounted price on the Kickstarter as an add-on, or even more discounted as a part of the I Want Everything set. You can definitely get them in the store once the Kickstarter is over. They're going to reprint now, and so we will see that you'll be able to pick them up later at the store. Thomas is asking, Amit, any chance for books or comics set in the City of Mist in the future? Well, there's a lot of thoughts about that. We actually also got a proposal from one producer to create maybe some kind of show around it. I think this is really premature to talk about this kind of things. If we have any concrete, proposals about that, or obviously we will share them with you. We really want to do a comic book set in the City of Mist world. I think Martin really wants to do that. I really want to do that. But that would actually probably take its own Kickstarter at some point. So right now, no, but definitely something we all want to do and see the potential in. Okay. Right, so this is pretty much the questions that we have right now. If anyone has any other questions, you can fire away and put those in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. If you have any more questions about the rewards themselves, what's going to be there, if you want to delve deeper into one of the books, while you're kind of thinking about that, let's see an update of where we are at. Wow, we're almost up to 174. This is crazy. Is this the updated? Yep, we're almost up to 174. We're 173,000 right now. This is pretty amazing. I just want to say thank you again to everyone who was involved in this. This has been an amazing comeback from the previous attempt at the Kickstarter, and everybody just got on board, and I love getting the feedback from people. I really like the fact that people are enjoying the system. Original backers, people who have pre-ordered the book, people who already have the book, new backers, people who had just heard about this game 4 hours ago. This is really the best feedback that we can get, and the best kind of vote of confidence that we can get. So thank you again for everyone that took part in this. And what we could do now is, I don't know how many of you know the theme books. but we can take a quick look at the art for those before signing off. Let's see. By the way, if anyone has ideas for more theme books, you can fire away and write them in the chat. Right now, I'm under the impression, and also many other players are under the impression, that the current theme books pretty much cover what you need to create characters in City of Mist. But if you guys have ideas for more, and we feel that expression, and we feel that it's relevant, we will definitely look into that. This is Merlin there. I don't know if you've seen him in the Chapter 4 comic book, Merlin with adaptation. We have Baron Samedi with Relic. We have the mythos of Talos, the I think bronze man robot kind of thing created in Greek mythology. This is the mythos of the Chinese god of literature and the written word. Tlaloc, who's going to be a starter set character. The rain god, the Aztec rain god. This is a doppelganger mythos. And we're back to the Ice Queen, who's also going to feature in one of the books. I will not tell you which, but she's going to be a major character in City of Mist. And these are the more mundane characters that we have, or theme books that we have. This was a mythos of a poltergeist. But no, sorry, this was the mythos of the Phantom of the Opera killing people in the streets of the theater district. And the detective. Okay, Thomas is asking if I have ordered dice in the first Kickstarter, will they be double-sided D6 as well? Thomas, yes, I actually a few days ago sent an update to the original backers before uploading this on this campaign, letting all of you know that your dice are going to be double sixes. So yes, that definitely applies. Thomas is also asking when new themes will be introduced. Will they be available in physical form as well? The main theme books that we're going to be introducing are the Gatekeepers theme books. So Shadows and Showdowns are going to have at least 3, I think, Gatekeeper theme books that will help you create your Gatekeeper. Some of them relate to shrouding, the Gatekeeper's art of controlling the mist. And that was already shared with the backers of the previous campaign in the Agent Ramirez character. So we also included some extra rules there. That's kind of the seed for the Gatekeeper rules that are going to be in Shadows and Showdowns. And so there's going to be about 3 theme books, new theme books for Gatekeepers. I don't think that we will have them in printed form. We might enhance the current product to include all the theme books. We might not, because then it kind of creates this weird compatibility with products. I'm just thinking out loud right now. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do about printed theme books, but probably I'm assuming that's not going to be a product in and of itself. Ignacio is asking a question about the double D6s. In the picture of the D6s in the store, they had little detail on the corners. Is there a chance for the same in the double D6s? We will want to add some kind of detail or some kind of grain to the numbers there. However, I don't think that we will do the detail that we had on the D6s. To be fairly honest with you, I know that a lot of people maybe liked it. I didn't really think that this was very City of Misty. It was like nice detail, and it looked like a custom die, but it wasn't really City of Misty. It was just something that we had from the previous Kickstarter. So I was going for something more, more in the line of what we, the whole kind of line of products for City of Mist. So I think the new dice they will have some kind of detail. I'm hoping to add them some kind of texture, but I don't know if that's going to be, I don't think it will be similar to the ones on the website. Alan Valentunes is asking, are the D6s ever coming back in stock? Alan Valentunes, they were never made. These were all pre-orders, and I don't think that we will ever make these D6s for the reasons I just said. Trinable is asking, what can you tell us about the City of Mist soundtrack? Absolutely nothing yet. This is an idea that came from the backers. We played along, we added it as a stretch goal. I've been wanting to have a soundtrack forever. We actually had a couple of proposals for soundtracks, but I didn't feel that these artists necessarily reflected City of Mist and kind of, got that vibe that we wanted to create for City of Mist. So we are looking for recommendations. And if you know people who are creators, music creators that can take on a project like that, specifically in this genre of mystery and noir, but also something pretty cinematic, right? That would be nice to listen to as we're playing through a scene, then that's definitely something that we're interested in. So please send me an email or a message with the idea that you have. I know that I think Thomas has already sent me one person that I'm going to be checking out for the soundtrack. And Thomas is asking, I would like to see printed theme books of the new introduced themes as add-ons in future Kickstarter, or I would like to order them from your site someday. Noted, Thomas. Like I said, I hope that there will be enough to merit a product in and of themselves. And if so, we will make them, but it remains to be seen. Okay, and Nathaniel is asking a follow-up question. Soundtrack. Are we going to have rights to use the music there in streaming City of Mist games on Twitch? I think that's pretty reasonable to assume. I haven't really, gone into the details of rights and how you can use it, so I can't guarantee anything like that. I still have to figure all that out, but I think that that's pretty reasonable to assume. Bernard is asking, since shipping for backing plus add-ons isn't finalized, is it better to overpledge for estimated shipping or underpledge and pay the difference under the pledge manager? That's the eternal question, right? I think that you can definitely add, a few bucks for each add-on that you're adding on top of it, especially the big ones. The dice probably wouldn't be too heavy, but it's really hard to tell. It's really up to you. I can tell you that if you overpledge, we will refund the extra funds, definitely. So this decision is up to you. Ignacio, Amit, do we have the Legends deck? Looks like a great idea from the Kickstarter, and I don't see it anywhere. The deck of Legends is actually in development, but because we have a lot of work already, and it's kind of an art-intensive product that we're going to have to factor in throughout the period towards March 2019, I decided not to combine it yet. Not to combine it in the Kickstarter. As soon as we have a very clear, kind of plan on how we're going to do it, I'm going to add it to the store and you can pick it up there. Thomas is asking, will there be a forum on your site in the future? Well, that's actually a great question. I guess the most activity I see for City of Mist is in the City of Mist is for the City of Mist RPG group on Facebook. That's the most active group, I think, and the second one is the Discord channel for City of Mist. Both of them I highly recommend, Thomas, that you join if you haven't joined already. Forums, it really depends on backers, and if we get enough people asking for a forum, we will add that as well. But right now, there's also City of Mist Reddit. There's also City of Mist group on Google Plus with 500 people. So I think there's a lot of places to discuss City of Mist, and I don't know necessarily that we need a forum for it, but definitely if people ask for it, we will add that. Enjoy suggesting to overpledge 25K to get the starter box unlocked. By all means, you're very welcome. Enjoy's a friend, so this is just usual banter. But maybe if we're lucky, you won't have to. I will say this: if we get to 19,000 tonight, before in the next 7 hours, if we get to 19,000, I will unlock the starter set for as an add-on for people to pick up, or maybe if we do maybe 195, something like that. I will unlock it so that maybe with some kind of push, we'll be able to go over 200,000. This is something that I've been thinking about for a while. Yeah, 195,000. And this is something I've been thinking about for a while, and we really want to create this starter box. And if we even come close to that, we will definitely unlock it for picking it up as an add-on. Are you interested? Are people interested? I'd like to see some comments if you think that you'll be picking up the new starter set. And I think that we're gonna finish up with a little quiz. There is one comic book or comic strip in the book that actually involves the character that is also on the cover of one of the books that we're going to make. There's actually two characters. You know what? I'll let you figure it out. It's a riddle. In one of the comic books, in one of the comic strips in the core book, there is a character that appears on one of the covers of the new book that we're going to make. And there is also on the other cover, there is a character appearing that we released an image of sometime along this Kickstarter. So it's just something for you to look for. Okay, let's see. We're saying the starter set is something that I see myself buying multiple of to give out as gifts to coworkers who are also interested in tabletop RPGs, says CJ. Thank you, CJ. That's really important feedback. And we're going to make it so easy to get people into role-playing with the starter set. You know that the current starter set is already, I've played it with children as young as, I guess, as, I would want to put in a kind of noir corruption theme. I guess 12 was the youngest kids that we played it with, or 13. And of course, it was very, 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 very diluted for kids. But I also played it with a bunch of ladies over 60 that were, interested in the game, and we had a blast. So, and there's so many people that came up to me in cons and said, here's my wife, here's my husband, I want to get them into the game, and I brought them into the game. And at the end of the game, these people were role players. So I think that this is one of the strong points of City of Mist, and I will make this, if it's even possible, to make it more accessible to new players. It's going to happen in this starter set if we're able to make it. So definitely get out there, please. I'm going to reshare those Facebook sharing and the Facebook sharing and the Reddit upvoting links. Anyone who's here, if you can get your friends also to get us more exposure this way, it would be very, very much appreciated. And I think that we all want this starter set to be unlocked. So let's get to it. Okay. Ignacio, a question about the adaptation theme. It says that for doing things like sorcery, the PC has to change the game move first to gain a bonus for the next action. Does the player must do 2 turns? So it's just 1 turn, 1 spotlight with 2 moves, and it's been explained several times. I'm happy to explain it to you even in person, Ignacio, but I've actually regaled so many people already with this explanation that I'm actually going to skip it this time. But if you send me a message, I will point out to you places where it has been explained. It's simply a change the game move to create the tags and then a move to use those tags. Nathaniel is saying, I just wanted to say that my friends and I tried the City of Mist system and they are really heavy RPG players. Sharing starter boxes to them would be amazing. That's awesome, Nathaniel. Thank you for that feedback. What else have we got here? Ignacio, I love a starter to teach the game in RPG Gathering. Here, I'm using the first one, and I would love more tools to teach the game. Yeah, more tools, more, there's obviously dice and cards included, but 5 more characters for people to choose from. A new case, that case is going to tie into the Anatoly avatar. By the way, in the last finale of the previous Kickstarter, we created Anatoly. So we created the avatar of Anatoly, who's in the core book. So the case from the starter set taps right into the Anatoly avatar operation, the iceberg that's in chapter 6 of the core book. And the MC Toolkit is going to have the second case after that, Gambling with Death, which just kind of like get you started on the Anatoly season. And that's just going to be easier for people to get right into the game without having to prepare anything. Thomas is saying, any chance that we can fulfill social achievements even when this Kickstarter is ended? I'm sorry, Thomas. I would really love to do that, but that's the whole point of social achievements, is that we go out there now in the 7 hours left and try to push this as much as possible. Oh my God, we're already 175. That's amazing. Try to push this as much as possible on all channels. Do anything you can. Get your friends to share it. Share it in groups. It's very important. Please share it in groups where there are, tens of thousands of people. Tabletop gaming groups, RPG forums, where there's a lot of exposure, and the sooner the better, because we are definitely running out of time. And if we can do that, then I'll tell you this: if we hit 2,000K, we're definitely going to unlock all of the social achievements, and I'm going to add this PDF. Oh, sorry, Ignacio. I've just heard this question a couple of times. Ignacio is saying that he just wanted to know if it's 1 or 2 turns. So it's 1 turn, 1 time getting the spotlight, 2 moves. Okay, so we're getting more feedback that's saying absolutely to the starter set. That's awesome. Thank you very much. So I just want to thank everyone that was involved in this Kickstarter. Again, original backers, returning backers, people who pre-ordered the book, people who picked it up this year, everyone who voted for us for the Annies, and all of the, my friends, my family, some of them are here, and all the support that I got. And I got a lot of support during this time, and I want to thank the team, Marcin, Mariusz, sorry, I totally blacked out. Marcin, Mariusz, Manuel, and Juancho, and all the designers, and of course, everyone that helped us with all the technical stuff, Omer and Sydney, and the playtesters who have been amazing. So really, a big thank you to all of you. especially here today, the backers who are going to actually make City of Mist into not just a kind of like a core book that disappears, but also a whole line of books and a lot of content that people can really sink their teeth in and play for years. So that's a big thank you from me to all of you out there. So big thanks to Mark, my partner. Thank you, Omar, for reminding me to say that. And we have some other comments. I think the Shadow would make a great character in City of Mist game. I love the film or setting, Bernard said. Thomas says, Amit, thanks for your patience, your handling of this Kickstarter, and that you have rebooted the previous one, and for bringing us City of Mist in the first place. Thank you, Thomas. You're one of the most adamant backers that we have, and I'm very thankful for that. And Ignacio is shooting one more question. If the deck is ready and I can buy it before the second wave. I don't know about the deck of legends right now, Ignacio, but we will definitely, I will answer any questions you have on the messages. Sorry guys, I'm blacking out. It's been a very, very busy period. Mitchell just joined us. How's it going, Mitchell? So it's interesting because we just peaked to 25 viewers, but we're actually signing off. Thank you, everyone. Please, in the final hours, do whatever you can to share this Kickstarter. So maybe we will reach the 200,000 and we'll be able to create the City of Mist new starter box. But even if we don't, I think this has been an amazing Kickstarter, and I thank everyone on board once more. And have a great evening, and let's see where it gets us. So I'll see you soon in the Pledge Manager or in the comments on the Kickstarter page. Bye, everyone.